So, good day. So, I, from our last class, I explained something message from the last link, which I was to drop as previous, which I was to drop for review. Now, in our last class, I explained something message, and I did explain what is data analysis. I explained data analysis, that something message is just majorly about data analysis and all of that. And I also explained blockchain network. Blockchain network, how we mention different kinds of networks that we have. Network like Tron, network like TR20, which is being governed by Tron. Network like TRC20, which is being governed by Ethereum. And I explained network, and I explained network like and three blockchain and BSC. And I told you that we have other major network. Now I told you that for us to explore this network, we can actually do what? We can actually use explorers. We can actually use explorers. Few of the explorers I mentioned was Peter scan, DSC scan, then I mentioned the Twin scan, which I gave you, which I showed you how we can get, which I showed you how we can actually get those scans. I showed you their link and their website. I did explain all of that on our previous class. Now, our next thing. So now we'll be talking about who is a whale. Who is a whale? That is this major aspect. Who is a whale? Now, a whale is just someone. A whale is someone. Now, just like how we have in a river, just like how we have in a river, in a, sorry, not actually in a river, because the whale cannot actually swim in a river. Just like how we have in a sea, the biggest fish is a whale, right? So now, in a coin, the biggest, the person who actually have the largest portion, those who actually have large portion of that or large quantity of that coin is actually called a whale. It's actually called a what? Whale. And we can actually see a whale address. We can actually see a whale address using on-chain metrics, which we'll be discussing about on this section, section of our class. So major things that we'll be talking about is the list of techniques on on-chain metrics. So from our this thing, from our previous discussion, from our previous discussion, we talked about we talked about financial metrics where I had to teach you how to use coin market cap, how you can actually use coin market cap, and I think I've made explanation on all of this or everything that you can see on coin market cap. If you don't actually if you don't actually recall it, if you don't actually recall it, I would recommend you to go back and make a preview of it. So now, mm, so now I told you that for us to crack for us to crack our on-chain metrics, we should actually be using an explorer. Now, this is where you can actually see the explorer, or this is where you can actually see the contact address or all of that. Now, the explorer, or I can just click on the explorer, which is this, and it will load. It will load. But I already have one open. Now, this is the explorer that I actually have here. This this is DSC scan, which actually means that this hook protocol, which is known as abbreviation of this coin, is actually known as hook coin, or an abbreviation is actually known as hook. The major name of this coin is hook protocol. This is the abbreviation. I made explanation of something like that when we were dealing with coin market cap. So hook, now the hook token, the hook token is being allocated to BSC scan, which actually means the contact address is being registered on where it is registered on printing, which means that the contact address is registered on what the printing. Now, since it's being registered on the printing, now all its file and all its documents, all its database can be found on this BSC scan. Now, let us say that we don't have, let us say that we did not just open this directly. We did not just open this directly. For us to locate this, for us to locate this database, you can actually use the contact address, which is this. You can actually use the contact address. This is the contact address. And we can paste it here. Let's say that I decide to copy this contact address. Copy this contact address. Click on copy. I can paste it on this policy down. Now, if you see, if I click on start, let's give it 2 seconds. So if I click on start, you have this hook protocol, which is your hook token, which is your what hook token. Now, I should go back. Okay. So now I'll be explaining the BSC scan. I'll be explaining everything here. Now, this is just the normal hook token name. This is just the normal hook token name. Now, from here, this is telling you the price of the hook token. That is the actual market price. The actual market price that this token is being traded on. Now, you already know from our last class, we talked about the total supply. Now, the total supply for people to buy is what? For people to buy is 500 million hook token. Now, this is just the holders. That means the numbers of people that are holding hook token. We just only have 1,432 persons holding hook token, or 1,432 wallets that are holding what hook token. Now, this is just the transfer. Now, when we say transfer, the numbers of transactions that have taken place since the creation of this hook token, the numbers of transfer that have taken place. Now we have the profile summary where you can get the contact address, where you can get the contact address of this hook token, or you can just click on copy. You can click on copy on the contact address. You can use the contact address to search for this token on any wallet, on what any wallet, and you can use it to add. You can use it to add this token. You can use it to add the token on any wallet using the contact address. I can just click on start. I can just click on start. I can use it to now. I've already used it to start. So it's showing us that this contact address is a hook token contact address, just hook protocol, hook what protocol. Now I will still show you how you can use this contact address and the decimal. This decimal just the numbers in the contract. This is just the official site. The official site that is the company or the token official site. This is where most of almost all the whole database are on the token. From here you can get it. From here you can interact with the from here you can even get interaction of the whole token. You can get information, you can know about the community, and you can also get the white paper and the tokenomics which we'll be talking on, which we'll be discussing on our next class. Now, this is just their social media profiles. This is their social media profiles. Just or any of their social media handles that you need, you can just get it from here. So now, without me you knowing all of this, so we'll dive into the major aspects that brought us here. Now, we'll be discussing about the transaction count, the word transaction count. Now, the major reason why we'll be discussing about the transaction count, we want to know if there are active or if there are active transaction going on this token. If there are active transaction going on this token, it's just like you buying a product. You want to actually know if people people are actually buying this product. If people are actually buying this product, so we can get their what transaction, we can get their transaction count, the numbers of transactions that have taken place in this token. Now you can see we have transfers, the numbers of transactions that have taken place is 11,500, 11,509 transactions. Now, this 11,509 transactions is not a bad, is not a what? Is not a bad count. If you ask me, it's not a bad count. Why do I say it's not a bad count? Because of hook token, you actually need to know when this coin was created. Now, this coin was just created last week. This coin was just created last week. I think the hook token was launched on first. The hook token was launched on first of December. Was launched on first of December, and we're just in 14th of December, and you already have like 11,509 transaction count. If you can check, if you go to Bitcoin, if you go to Bitcoin, which have already been created for long, if you go to Bitcoin, let us click on Bitcoin so that I can actually show you the Bitcoin. Let me look for coin market cap on Bitcoin. Yes, this coin market cap on Bitcoin. So this is coin market cap on Bitcoin. We can actually use Bitcoin Explorer. We can actually use Bitcoin Explorer. We can see that Bitcoin have different Explorer. Let me use Bitcoin blockchain info. Let me use this Explorer. And let me use Ethereum. Sorry. Let me use Ethereum. Ethereum. Let me use Ethereum. This is Ethereum. The reason why I want to actually use Ethereum because Ethereum, Ethereum actually have its major wallet. So let me use Etherscan. Use Etherscan. So this is Etherscan. Okay. So this is Etherscan. So you can see the numbers of transactions that have taken place the since the beginning of Etherscan. We have one point we have 1.809. We have 1.8 million transactions that have taken place. Now it's a much transaction because of we actually have Ethereum to be like 2 years and the rest. And but in our hook token, you know that hook token was just created on the first of what on the first of December, which is just 2 weeks difference from now, and we already have like 11,509 transactions. It's a good transaction. So we want to actually know about the transaction count. The major reason why you want to know about the transaction count is just because of so that you know if what you are buying in the market, if the token that you want to actually buy in the market is actually a token have that is being bought that have activities going on it. Let us say that if the token don't have much activities, nobody are buying the token, or nobody the token is not actively having sales and the rest. You know that it will be a weak it will be a weak token. No activities going on in the token. No activities like buying and selling going on in the token. So the price it will not have effect on the price. That is why we are actually concerned about the word transaction count. Now, if speaking about transaction count, you can see you can actually go through the transfers that have taken place in the wallet. Now, if you can see, we have this which is transfer, we have this which is transfer. Now, on this transfer, you can see a total of 11,509 transactions found. Now, these are all through the pages one by one. You can be going through the pages one by one to go through all the whole transfers that have already been what that have already taken place on this particular hook token. Now about now I would like to explain this CN CXN hash. CXN hash. What CSN hash actually means is that now when you have your CSN hash, now your CSN hash just means transaction hash, or you can be seen as transaction ID, transaction hash ID. Now what is your transaction hash ID? A transaction hash ID, also abbreviated as what you just saw in as your CSN hash or your CX hash. Any of them is a unique identifier similar to a receipt that serves as proof that a transaction was validated and added to a blockchain. Now, what this actually means day to day life, in our day to day life, that is in our physical life, anytime you purchase a token or anytime you buy something, you are actually being offered a receipt to prove that that transaction was taking place, or to prove that you actually bought that thing from that location, or any reason. Now, this is actually your what? This is actually the this is actually your CXN hash. Now, with this your CXN hash, it is just a receipt that you can use to track this. You can actually use it to track if this transaction, like you can see, if this transaction was actually valid, if the transaction actually took place. Now, this is just let me just so I've explained this CSN hash. I will explain it more. Just let me just explain few things. Now, this is your method. This is the word method. Now, what this method actually means is that was the token transferred, was transferred. Now, these are different uses of method that the token was transferred for. Now, this transfer actually means that it was actually transferred from one wallet to another. It was actually transferred from one wallet to another. This is just swap token for exact token. Now just exchange of what it was not transferred. It was not transferred. You just only swap it maybe from one wallet to another, or you actually swap it on a pancake swap and all of that. Now, if you can see, we actually have things like remove liquidity. Remove liquidity just means those people that actually provide liquidity that need since they are providing the liquidity, they will be rewarded. So they're actually paying them back for their liquidity. Now this is if you can see we have add liquidity if you're actually staking to create a liquidity on this to create a liquidity on this token to create a liquidity on this token so you can actually stake your token. So that is all of that. Now this is the age. Now what is actually mean the age is the time of this transaction. The time of this what transaction. Now this is actually telling me the time of this transaction. If you click on the top of the time of this transaction, it can actually inform you the exact date and the exact time. Now this was taken 3 minutes ago. This transfer was taken 3 minutes ago. 3 minutes ago, and you can see the date and the exact time. Now this is form. Now who is sending it to who? Who is sending from? Who is sending it to who? Which actually means this is the actual person sending it. This is the actual person doing this transfer. Is sending it to another word to another wallet. Is sending it to another word wallet. Is sending it to another wallet. Now this is quantity. This is just the quantity, the number of transfer that is actually doing. The quantity of transfer. That means since we have 440, since we have 447.7, which is actually telling us that this actual person is this actual transaction is actually transferring 447 token, 447, 447.7 token, 447.7 hook token to this address, to this what address. So if you actually have time, you can scroll and the rest. Now let us say that we want to actually confirm if this we want to actually confirm if this transaction took place. Now we can just copy the word. We can just do what? Copy the hash power. We can just click on the hash. You can just click on the TSN hash power. Now you can see this is the TNS hash power. This is TNS hash power. It's showing us the status. It's showing us the status of the transaction that it was what? It was successful. It was successful. This is the block. Now what this means that what it's trying to tell us is that 334 block confirm this transaction, and it can show you the time, the wallet that it was being from, and all of that. Now it can also show you the transaction fee, that is the cost of transaction, the amount that they actually charge this particular person to transfer this exact size of token. Now let us say that we don't want to. If you can see, I can actually copy the transaction hash, or let's just imagine that I actually want to send out my own token. I actually sent my own token, and the token is taking longer period to transfer to my wallet. All I just have to do is know the TXN hash and know the actual explorer, that is the actual blockchain that I actually transferred to. I can just come to the blockchain and paste. I can come to the blockchain and paste my what? I can come to the blockchain and paste my TXN hash. Now I can just click on paste. That is my TXN hash. I can click on start. Now if I start it, it will actually show me the transaction details. It will actually show me the transaction details, just like how you have your receipt. Now you can see if my transaction is actually pending, that is, if the status of my transaction is actually pending, or if it has been cancelled, it will give me the actual status and all of that. So now I will go back. So I just explained for you the transfer and the rest. I just explained for you the transfer. Now the next thing that we'll be discussing about from our this thing is our transaction what value. Is our what transaction value. Now you don't need to mistake you don't need to mistake your transaction count with your transaction value. Now what your transaction value is, your transaction value can just give you the information of now your transaction value will give you the amount of hack token that have actually been what transferred. Your transaction value will actually give you the amount of hack token that have actually been transferred. Now the amount of hack token that have actually been transferred can just be some of the what quantity of token that have actually been transferred for a period, a month, or a year. Now this is just the sum total of the quantities that have actually been transferred. Let us just imagine that I actually add this, add this, add 447.7, 447.7 again, add 3047, continue. If I continue having them, I can actually have the word transaction value that have actually been what transferred for that period of what time. That has actually been transferred for that period of time. I will actually show you how you can get the transaction value that has been transferred for that period of time when we move into the advanced aspect. Now another this thing is your what transact is your active address. Your what active address. Now what is the meaning of your active address? Now the active addresses are just you want to actually know if these addresses are what active, if these addresses are what active, or if it's if it's a dominant address. Just like maybe if I transfer, if the address is someone. Now, why you want to actually know if it's an active address? You want to actually know if the company or the group of people in charge of this house token are actually taking the what transfer, are actually doing what taking the transfer, actually taking the transfer. Maybe you have, maybe they can, I maybe this is a transaction, right? This is an active address. This is the address, right? And I want to send it to this particular what address. Now I want to know if, now one way that I can actually know if this is an active address, explain, you can still actually go to our TXN hash. Now we can see that this is actually a success. It was actually a successful transfer, which means this the address where they actually send it to, which is this contact address interacted with, that is to this is the address which is sent it to. The both of them are actually what active addresses. They are actually what active addresses. Why are they active addresses? Your BSC scan, that is the blockchain which they are actually using, confirm that this address is an active address registered on your what? Registered on your BSC scan. Now, most of the addresses are being generated by the what? Most of the addresses are being generated by the blockchain that they are actually registered on, using your proof of work or using your proof of stake, or all of that. Those are advanced. Those are advanced, but the time you actually get used to it. The time you actually get used to it. Now the next thing is the fee paid. Now the fees paid. Now the fees paid actually varies. The fees paid actually varies. Now, what I actually mean by the fee paid actually varies is that, now let us just imagine that this guy wants to send this particular contact address, wants to send in 447 quantity of hook tokens to this particular guy. Now, the fee paid in the fee paid in the blockchain can actually vary. Why do I say can actually vary? Now, you want to know, let us say the higher the fee you pay, the higher the fee, the higher the what transaction fee. What I actually mean by the higher the fee paid, the higher the transaction fee is that, let us say that we are transferring. Okay, let us click on this. Let us click on this particular text as token. Now you can see paid, the transaction fee that was paid in this is just 0.0002 DMB, which is actually worth 0.07. Now, you cannot actually locate. Now you can see the timestamp it took. Now this timestamp, okay, let us just forget about that. Now this speed, if I'm actually transferring from a cross wallet, if I'm actually transferring from a cross wallet, or let us say that I'm actually transferring from a Dex wallet, when if I'm actually transferring from a Dex wallet, now if I need the token to go in with immediate speed, I can actually add more. I can actually add more transaction fee. I can actually add more transaction fee. Now um I don't have any token in my I don't have any token in my trust wallet. If not, I would have used this to show you I would have used this to show you an example. Now let us take another person. Let us take another person's transaction. Let us take maybe a transaction. Let us take okay. This is actually a transfer. Let's use this particular transfer. I can click on this contact address, this TNX hash. Now you can see in this TNX hash the transfer feed paid. The transfer feed paid is just 0.00126 GMB that was used to pay that was used to transfer this particular token. Now what we are actually looking for, I'm coming. Give me 2 seconds. let us look for a particular. So let's say this. Okay. Now the fee paid on this is 0.26. Now all I just want you to know is just that the higher the fee paid, the higher the fee paid, the higher the fee, the higher the transaction speed. I think I will actually create a video on that so that you can actually see an example. Just since you are following me up on the education video, I will create a video. Now when I create a video, I'll actually drop it in this description link. Now that just have to do with the fee paid. Now another thing with fee paid, another thing that you can actually note about the fees paid. Now the fees paid. Now, if this particular token, which is hard token, actually charges what much fee, actually does what charge much fee. Let us, if you can see in most of the transactions that we just checked, most of the fee are just what like 0.2, $0.2, 0 point something dollar. Now let us just imagine that this actual hard token is charging what is charging $24. That is $0.24 worth of hard token or $0.24 worth of BNB token. Now the now you actually know that hard for it will be hard for anyone it will be hard for anyone to transact to do transactions to one wallet or to another wallet. It will be hard for you to transport your token from one wallet to another, or it will be hard for you to make sales on. It will be hard for someone to make sales or all of that. Now it will decrease the what? It will decrease the liquidity of this token, which means that different transaction fees, which means that the token will not have major transfer. The token will not have a lot of transactions. Now you know that the more the transaction that this token actually, the more the transaction, the more the company or the sorry, I don't know why I'm using company, but when I say company, I actually mean the major people that is the major co co-founders of the token. The more they will not have transaction or commissions, or the more they will not have a lot of commissions on this what on their token. Now, the more if when you're actually transferring from when you're actually having if you're transferring from one wallet to another, or if you're actually doing transactions, you actually know that the token will actually have more liquidity. The token will actually have more liquidity. The token will actually have more activities going on in the token, and the token will actually have activities that are being run. Now, this anytime those activities are being run, you actually know that the token, some certain percentage are being sent to the what? Some certain percentage are being sent to the co-founders, and some certain percentage are being sent to the blockchain, just like the transaction fees are, are being given or allocated to the founders and all of that. So the more the less the transaction fee, the less the transaction fee, the less the higher the activities that will go on in this what in that blockchain or in that particular token. So I've I've explained all of this. Now we just only talked about the transfers. We just only talked about the word transfers. Now we want to actually using your own chain metrics or using the explorer, we can actually track who who is actually holding this particular token. You can actually track the name, the wallets that are actually holding this what particular token. Now if you can see, these are the addresses. This is just the ranking. That is the highest. This is just the ranking. What the ranking actually means is that when we talk about the ranking, is actually the highest holder of this token. Now, if you can see, the first ranking is these are the first ranking, which is 70. percent. Now the 70%, that means this particular person or this particular address is holding a very huge amount of percentage of this token or a huge quantity of this what token. Now is this is the second huge amount, or you these are the people that will call whales because of they are holding a very huge amount of this token. Like you can see, this is Binance. This is Binance. This is Binance, which actually means Binance is actually holding a very huge amount of this token, which is 8%. This is another Binance wallet. Now, if you can see, this is Gates.io. Gates.io is an exchange. It's an exchange that is holding a huge percent. We actually have Pancake Swap, which are actually holding. We actually have Dex.com, which are actually holding. And these are other addresses of people that did not actually identify, themselves, that they are actually holding this. That that is give name, just like how we have names on this Gates.io, this Binance. We actually know who is holding it. But this is also wallets that are holding this token, but just that they do not give a specific name. We just only know them using their what contact, ad, using their wallet address. Now in here you can actually track any of these. You can actually track any of these holders on this token. You can actually know when they are buying. You can actually know when they are buying, when they are selling. Now this is just for the rank which I've explained. These are just the wallet addresses. This is the quantity of the token that these particular addresses are holding. This is just the percentage. Now the percentage in what? Now this actual person is holding a 70%. Is holding 70% of the hook token. That is holding 70% of hook token from its original what? From its original 100% supply. So this is the value. Now when we say the value, that means we mean the value in USD. The value in what? USD. Now this is analysis. Now what this actually mean is that if you want to actually get the analysis of this particular, okay, so we can actually say that this particular address, we can actually say that this particular contact address is the address of owners of this token, because of they are the ones that will actually be found on the first top of the what, on the top of the holders, because of they are actually the ones that have the highest percentage of what, this token. Now I can click on analysis. Now I just click on I just click on analysis on this particular holder. I just give it to, okay. So I just click on analysis on holder. So now this is the analysis of this particular holder. Now as you can see, the token balance of this particular holder from 18th November. Now this particular holder have been holding the token from 18th November. Now what does that really mean is that they have been holding the token from they have been holding what, if you can see, the balance of that it have been holding was 5 million of this token. Now, why are we seeing 5 million of this token? If you can see, the actual holder that we actually click on is the first holder, and I told you that the first holder are those that actually have the what, are those that actually have the token. So when we click on it, we can see that the holders are doing what, the holders have been holding this token. If you can see from the top of this, we have Friday 18th November. They actually started holding 5 million worth of this token, which is the actual total supply on this, the actual total supply of this hook token. Now they were holding this hook token on the actual on November 18th. Now they distributed a few portion. They distributed a few portion. Maybe they distributed it, or maybe they running tests and the rest. Now they actually sent another portion which actually showing you that they actually sent another portion, and these all these dots are the portion are the transactions that they have actually done. Now, if you can see all the token balance that they actually have left, you can see continually. Now, let's see on the this is actually on first of what first of December, because if I told you that the token was launched on what, first December. So on first December, they actually sold, they actually did transactions and release of some tokens, and that was how they releasing gradually. So you can see, you can just see the token balance at the top. So now this is the token balance that they actually have. This is the token balance that they actually have. Now on this top, you can actually see that they only have what, token balance. If you want to actually see the token transfer amount, that is the amount of tokens that they have transferred. Now from start they only from 18th December, from 18th November, they did not do what, they did not send out any token. Now, if you can see, we actually have sent and what, received. Now, this receipt, which actually means they received what, 500, they received 500 million token. They received 500 million token on 18th November. Now, this the blue is actually for sent, while the black is actually for receipt. Now, if you can go to 13th what, if you can go to 30th November, if you can go to 30th November, they sent out this particular amount. I believe the 2 million or so. They sent out this particular amount. Since we actually know that this is actually we're actually analyzing the holders, that is the founders wallet. You actually know that they distributed two five they distributed either 25 million worth of this hard token to what, to a wallet. They either distribute it for ICO, they either distribute it for ICO, or they distributed it to exchange or what of all of that. Now on first of December, on first of December, we they actually launched this token. On first of December, we they actually launched this token. The only spent amount or the only buy amount is this particular amount. Now since then, this is 12th December, more more sending out and the rest. Okay. So the next thing is the transaction, the token transaction. That is the number of transactions that they have actually done on this token. The numbers of transactions that this particular wallet address have actually done. Now the blue is actually the total transfer. It's actually the word total transfer, which you can actually see on all these blue lines. It's the actual total transfer that they have done. You can actually use your analysis or your normal graph. Now this is embodied transfer, that is within outboarded transfer that they have done. This is inboard transfer that they have actually done within, and this is your unique address sent. That is the addresses that the receipt was sent to. This is the unique addresses received and all of that. Now let us enough of doing analysis on the what, enough of doing analysis on the particular company of that of this token. Let us do analysis on a particular contact address, or an individual well address. Now we can see this is the second address. The quantity of this address is actually holding 100 million. It's actually holding 100 million of this token. Now, just like 100 million of this token is 20%, which is showed there. We can actually go to the analysis so that we can know, we can get information on this token. So now this is the analysis, this is the token balance. Now on December, on December, you can actually see Saturday, which is December 10th, which is this on our calendar. This address was not having what this address was not having any token. Only the only amount of the token balance that this address was having is 100. Is 100. The token balance was 100. It was only this particular address or this particular will was only holding 100 of this what token. It was actually holding 100 of this token, not until December 12th, and it actually bought. He actually would take if he actually bought when we get to when we get to the transaction, the token transfer amount or the token transfer count. Now on as you actually know, on December 12th, which is on Monday, he actually purchased 100 million worth of the token, and sorry, he actually purchased 10 million worth of the token. That is, we have one, two, three. We have one, two, three. Okay, I don't know. Okay, let us count the number one, two, three, one, two, three. Okay, 100 million. And as of December 13th, I actually think he actually had few or was actually commissioned few amount of what he was actually commissioned more amount of token, either they actually rewarded him or whatever. Now we have our token transfer. Now the token transfer count. Now he only did what? He only received he only received nine that is 99 that is 999 worth of the token on December 12th. Since then, he have not done what? Since then, he have not done any transaction. Since then, he have not done any transaction on this particular one. He have not done any transaction, which means he have not actually buy or sell, and he have not actually transferred this token to anyone, or he have not actually reduced his portion of 100 million that is actually holding, or portion of 20%, still holding 20% worth of this token. Now, you can actually be tracking this. You can actually be tracking this particular contact address to know when a to know when a big whale is doing what selling, to know when a big whale is what selling. We actually discuss that on our what we actually discuss that on another section. Now this is token transfer. This is token transfer count, just like exactly what I explained to you and all of that. Okay. Now let us actually look for before we end this class. Let me actually look for a lower let me actually look for a lower address. Okay. Let us use this particular address which is ranked with 100. This is the 100 largest folder. Okay, loading. So now the transfer the transfer that this particular sorry now this is the analysis. Okay, so for my analysis is the token balance. This actual person bought what? He bought 5,954. He received 5,000. He had the token balance of 5,954, which he actually reduced on 3rd of December. He actually reduced some of his portion, and he bought more, reduced it, and added more of his portion. For some reason, he actually reduced and sold off to take some profit. He actually bought again. Now, if you can see, this actual person have taken profit gradually. He have been buying and selling, which means he actually have much of transaction count on his on his contact address. Now, if you can see, he bought more, then he sold off, bought again, and sold off. Now, he have been making, he have been making a lot of what? He have been making a lot of profit, or he have been buying and selling. Now, he actually bought small. He actually bought small, 7041, which is 7,041 token of 7,041 hack token, hook token that he bought. He bought another hook. He bought more, making his ad, making his address to be what, making his wallet to have 11,000 worth of reward hook token. Now he sold off. He sold off. Maybe he took some profit. And today and presently he doesn't have any presently, which is actually of today. He doesn't have any hook token balance. Now the reason why he doesn't have any hook token balance, maybe he have sold off all his hook token. He have sold off all his hook token that he actually has. Now if you go to his token transaction count, you can see this is for the cent, the amount of hook token that he sent out, maybe either by selling, or this is the amount that he received either by what either by either by what buying. So these are just his start. These are just his start and everything. If you go to his token transfer count and all of that. Now if you go to transfer, if you go to his transfer, you can actually see he have actually been using what he was using. He have been using what these are the exchange. He have been using Binance to either buy and sell. You can see it and the rest. Well, I will not talk much on this. So that is that for that. So I've explained the transfer. I've explained the transfer, the folder. Now this is info. Now info just means if you want to actually know the if you want to actually have an information about the token information. This is actually the volume 24 hours worth, 24 hours volume that have been traded, the 24 hours volume that have been traded. Now this market capitalization, I actually don't think this is actually fake because of from our coin market cap we actually give you coin market cap will actually give you the particular amount of circulating, the maximum circulating and all of that, the 24-hour volume. This is 24-hour volume that we just saw from here. Sorry, that is from this. Just if you want to have info. Now this is dex trade. Now what this dex trade actually do? That is dex trade either from our class, those are actually my students and you, and actually the student I'm actually discussing this with. I told you that now I've explained what is the meaning of dex and sex. Now I told you that your dex is actually using a decentralized wallet that you use and create. All these are just what, if you can see, we actually have this is the actual dex exchange. This is the actual dex exchange and the rest. Now this is the contract. This is the contract. This is the what contract information. The contract information, like the contract name. The contract name is actually hook token. The compiler version. You can see all of that. Those are information for those that are actually into programming stuff and the rest. This is the analyst where you can actually see the token contract overview. Now those that are actually experts on reading of charts and the rest. As well, I'm partially an expert on reading of charts. I won't explain reading of charts and the rest, but let me just give a little bit of preview. Now you can see from here, from this, we actually know that this black portion of line, this black portion of line of this line chart, actually the what is actually the transfer count. That is the number of transfers that have taken place in this. Now this is just comment. Those that want to actually comment on this token on the blockchain, you can actually comment. Like you can see this guy is actually comment. Ad, send to this address to life. I don't know if he's actually begging for. He's actually begging for people to send token or all of that. So with your little bit of knowledge on coin on chain metrics, you actually know now. You actually know how you can use what. You actually know how you can use your own chain metrics to track down data or information on a particular what token using your what explorer. So without wasting more time, we'll be ending this section. If you have anything